There we go. All right. So this is my Elton John vinyl collection. The music of Sir Reginald Dwight, whose stage name and whose more common known name is Elton Hercules John, who I had the pleasure of seeing earlier this year in March. One of the best, probably the best concert I've ever been to. In preparation, I listened to all of his studio albums, and he has put out some amazing albums. He's also put out some not so great albums, but I bought all the ones I like the best. Pretty much everything he released in the 70s is fantastic, and that's what I have here. I'll also talk a little bit about ones that I might want to get in the future, but here we go. Alright, so first we have Empty Sky. This was not released in the US until 1975. This is a UK copy. This is the only UK Elton John album I have in my collection. The others are all US. There's Elton and there's Bernie Taupin, who writes all the lyrics. And this is the only one I have on the Dick James Music label. And there's the back. You can see. I don't know who Tony Brandon is. Or David Simmons. I think they're just people who are reviewing the album. So talk about who played on this album. Elton John, of course, piano. Caleb Quaye, he played with Elton there for a while. Nigel Olsson, he's a big part of Elton's band, plays drums on Lady What's Tomorrow. This was produced by Steve Brown, so this is the only Elton album that I believe is produced by this guy. After that, they're all done by Gus Dudgeon, who does a wonderful job at producing Elton's records. As for the music itself, this is kind of a more psychedelic record. It came out in the late 60s. You can see definitely where Elton is headed, but it sounds very different than what you would expect him to sound like. The title track, Empty Sky, is good. Valhalla. Western Ford Gateway is really good. The Scaffold is good. Skyline Pigeon is probably my favorite song on here. And then you get Gulliver. That one's good. And a song called Hey Jude, which is a joke because it's the chord progression of Hey Jude, and it's kind of a jazzy instrumental. And then there's a song called Reprise, or Reprise, depending on how you say it. That's pretty much just a little repeat of every song on the album. And then it kind of just goes, wah, 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 and then like tape echo goes like, and it just like stops. And that's how the album ends, which I think is pretty cool. Okay. Now we're going to go to Elton's debut in the US, second album in the UK. It's called Elton John. And there we can see Elton's band on the back. I do not know who Diana Lewis is. What did she do on this album? Paul Buckmaster, I know who he is. He did the string arrangements for this album. Absolutely incredible string arrangements. I think Diana Lewis sings backing vocals on here. There's Elton in his Buddy Holly glasses. Bernie Taupin, of course, writes the lyrics. Gus Dudgeon, the producer. I love how they have like the producer and the string arranger on the back, like they're part of the band. That's really cool. Caleb Quaye, he played the guitar, and Steve Brown. So I guess he did have a hand in this album. And you open it up and you can see all the lyrics inside to the songs. This album used to belong to G. Waltz. So I have your album, G. Waltz. It starts off with Your Song, which is one of Elton's very best songs. Bernie Taupin was only like 18 when he wrote the lyrics to this, which is insane because this is one of the best love songs ever. All of the lyrics on this album read like little poems. I Need You to Turn To was another great song. You got Take Me to the Pilot. That's really good. No Shoestrings on Louise is kind of Elton John's Rolling Stones impression. Sounds a lot like the first episode at High Enton is how it closes off the first side. That song is amazing. Paul Buckmaster's strings are so haunting. It's so cool. 60 Years On, another one, fantastic song. Border Song, kind of got some gospel influences in there. That's really great. Great song. The Greatest Discovery is a pretty cool song about finding out you have a new baby brother. The Cage is a rockin' song. And then it ends with the epic The King Must Die. Elton honestly saves a lot of some of his best songs for the last song. Definitely knows how to open and close an album. Might be my favorite album by him ever. It's either my favorite or my second favorite. It's that good. If you have not listened to this full album, check it out. I cannot recommend it enough. And it's on Uni Records, which I think is short for Universal. Next, we have a very underrated album by Elton, Tumbleweed Connection. There's, is it Elton or Bernie? There's one that's got, yeah, it's got Elton on the front. Then there's Bernie in the back. And then what's really cool about a lot of these 70s albums is the gatefold inside. See, here's Elton and Bernie, these Old West type photos. And it comes with a book. Yeah, Elton has a lot of really great packaging in his albums. So you got all the lyrics and some Old West kind of photos inside. This is really fun to look at whenever you're listening to the record. So you can read along and look at these photos. Yeah, here's the band. See if there's any lineup changes here. Elton, Bernie, Paul Buckmaster on string arranging. Nigel Olsson is finally playing drums on this album. That's Elton's drummer, who he drums with even to this day. I just saw him on tour, and Nigel Olsson was still playing with them. Dee Murray, okay, so now we finally get Dee Murray, who's Elton's established bass player, who played with the Elton John Band up until his death. And I don't recognize any of these other people. Starts off with the Ballad of a Well-Known Gun, which I believe got some high praise from Bob Dylan, actually. Dusty Springfield sings backing vocals on that. That's cool. Then we have Talking Old Soldiers. Country Comfort is a great song. Come Down in Time is fantastic. It's the bass on that, and Amarina is good. Love Song. None of these songs were hits, but like they all could have been hits. And this is kind of a theme. There's to this album. They're all kind of country and western songs, and it ends with "Burn Down the Mission," which is absolutely incredible. And here's the record itself. That Uni label again. Most of my early Elton albums are on that label, up until Universal merged with MCA, which now Universal owns the rights to MCA, which kind of all reverse now. Here we have Madman Across the Water. Another fantastic record from Elton. And you open it up, it's got another one of these books inside where you can read the lyrics. There's all the songs. It's got pictures that kind of demonstrate each of the songs. Tiny Dancer is the big hit here. Razorface is pretty cool. The title track, Madman Across the Water, which I believe can be interpreted to be about Richard Nixon. Indian Sunset is just this gorgeous song. It's the tragedy of how they drove the Native Americans off their own land. Holiday Inn is great. It's got some sitar in there. Closes appropriately with Goodbye. Here's the record itself. That Uni label again. And then this one's got a inner sleeve with some of the other artists. Who else would we have at the time? Neil Diamond. There's the Bill Cosby record in here. Uh-oh, that didn't age well. Okay. get that back in here. Come on, Madman. Alright, moving on to our next album. After Madman Across the Water, we have another great album from Elton. And that one would be Honky Chateau. Now, the Honky Chateau album has a really cool gatefold that I've never seen on any other album. It's got this fold thing on the side that you open up, and it reveals the band members. Now, this is the first album that's got the Elton John band, as we would know it for a long time. Elton John on piano, Brittany Taupin lyrics, Nigel Olsson on guitar, Dee Murray on bass. Sorry, Nigel Olsson on drums. My mistake. And Davy Johnston on guitar. There's the gatefold. Uni Records. Great songs on this one. Honky Cat opens it up. Mellow. Rocket Man is the big hit from here. That's a great song. Slave. My favorite song on here might actually be Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters. That one's really good. Hercules is great. This would be Elton's final release on Uni Records before the merge with MCA. I should rank these albums sometime. Now we've got another one of my favorite Elton albums. Of course, all of these 70s ones are some of my favorite. Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. I like the old school movie theater look of this cover. You open it up and there's another one of these special books inside. There's a picture of young Reginald Dwight learning to play the piano. And it looks like a movie. You open it up and there's pictures and all the lyrics as well. Elton looks like a wizard in this picture. Or like a magician or something. Okay, that's all of those. Daniel, that's great. Elderberry Wine is a rocker. Blues for Baby and Me. So that one's got some cool sitar in there. Midnight Creeper is a brass lead rockin' song. My favorite song on this album is Have Mercy on the Criminal. That one's really good. I got to see him play that one live. Crocodile Rock, that's a classic. And High Flying Bird is a great song that I don't think anyone has ever really talking about, but it's really good on this black MCA label. And it was released in 1973, very early. Transitional time for MCA Records before they made their famous Rainbow label, so that's why you have just the black label on this one. Now we get to possibly the greatest Elton album of them all. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, where the dogs of society howl. Yeah, I said earlier that the self-titled one might be my favorite. Nah, this is my favorite. Triple gatefold. It's got a lot of pictures in here demonstrating the songs. I'm only going to show one of the records because they're both on this Rainbow MCA label. Side 1, Funeral for a Friend and Love Lies Bleeding. Fantastic 12-minute song. Candle in the Wind, song about Marilyn Monroe. Benny and the Jets, that's one of my favorites. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. This song has no title. I always thought that was funny. Gray Seal, I've seen that movie too. That's a good one. I'm actually not too fond of the stuff on side 3, but it picks up a bit on side 4 again with Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting, Roy Rogers, and of course the final track, Harmony. So, that would be Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Fantastic album. If you're going to listen to your first Elton album, this is a good one to start with. Next, we got Caribou. This is such a goofy cover. I actually like this album. A lot of people hate this album, but the songs on here are just so corny that they're good. Also on MCA Records, Rainbow label. This is the first Elton album in my collection here not to feature one of those fancy booklets. Is there an inner? Yes. There is an inner sleeve, though, and with the lyrics. So Elton's not going to be cheap on you. No, he's just making it a little bit less. Grimsby is a song that I really like. Very underrated tune. The guitar, something like that. Solar Prestige Egalement. That song is really funny with lyrics mean absolutely nothing, but it's kind of a song that makes you laugh. I've Seen the Saucers is a really underrated song about alien abduction. I love that song. In fact, that was one of my most played songs this year on my Spotify Wrapped. My favorite on here is Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. That's great. And then Ticking is kind of a character study piece about a shoot up at a diner, talking about kind of the psyche behind somebody who would want to do such a terrible thing. Del Rock. All killer, no filler on this one. We got Elton's concept album about himself and Bernie Taupin being young songwriters. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. This is a really great album. Of course, they are all great. It's got a cool gatefold. This one comes with a lot of goodies. Here's a book with all the lyrics in it. And then you also get some souvenir photos. There's a little comic about Elton John in the back, which I think is funny. And then this is a poster of the album cover. And you can write to the Elton John fan club. I'm not going to unfold the poster because it's just the same as the gatefold image, so I'll just extend the gatefold. Poster looks exactly like this, and I think is about the same size too. Oh, there's more. You can also get some photos of Elton John. Here is Elton John dressed up as the Pinball Wizard from the Who's Tommy movie, which was released about the same time. This looks like Roger Daltrey. I don't know what he's doing in an Elton John album. But there is Elton. Here's Elton in his Pinball Wizard getup. Here's him playing the piano. I'll put the poster back. And then I can show the record of Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. This is on a special label. Custom label. Songs themselves tell the story of Elton John and Bernie Taupin as young songwriters. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. I like Bitter Fingers. That's a good song about writing basically nothing songs for famous artists to get your start. Someone Saved My Life Tonight is a very emotional, personal song about Elton John trying to commit suicide. Gotta Get a Meal Ticket is the rocker on this album. Better Off Dead is great. I love the drum sound on Better Off Dead. Writing, We All Fall in Love Sometimes, and Curtains. So this is a pretty cool concept album. Very personal because it deals with a lot of things that were going on when Elton was trying to make it big as a songwriter. So, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. Next, we have my final Elton John record in my collection, Rock of the Westies. Probably not as good as some of the other ones, but I actually like it still. This comes with a inner sleeve. It's got the lyrics on the back. Or wait, no, it comes with an inner sleeve and a lyric sheet. Where's the lyrics? Here they are. Here's the lyric sheet. Different than the inner sleeve. I like the Yell Help medley that starts out. Dan Dare, the pilot of the future. Island Girl, Grow Some Funk of Your Own. I Feel Like a Bullet in the Gun of Robert Ford. The Street Kids, Hard Luck Story. So, maybe not his strongest material, but I think this is an enjoyable listen. That's all I have so far in my Elton collection. I want to get Too Low for Zero, which is his best 80s album. It's got I'm Still Standing on it. Possibly want to get Sleeping with the Past, which is his kind of 80s soul album. But that is my Elton John record collection.